Me this time, right?
You.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Damn right.
I don't know. Let's see if you can pull it off.
I'll try.
It's tough.
I know it is.
Do you want me to write it down?
I got it, I think.
You think you got it?
We can do multiple takes, too.
Oh, that's true. You want me to just do it?
No, I got it. I got this.
How do you do? We're about to unfold the story of
The Son of Frankenstein.
This one is probably just as bad as his father.
Good morning, son.
Well, hello.
My son, you have inherited the fortune of the Frankensteins. I trust you will not inherit their fate.
By heaven, I think you're a worse fiend than your father. What are you going to do about it? There's a monster afoot and you know it.
Well, we've warned you.
You've been warned. Welcome back to Frankenstein Minute, the podcast that dissects the Universal Frankenstein film series minute by minute. The day I can't remember this, then worry. I'm Thom Lang.
Here's the thing. When I'm the guy who has to do this part, I fuck it up, I think, every single time. So
Well,
there is that.
That part is harder
It's a
because
little
it's
harder.
a little different, yeah.
And I'm Bill Evenson, and this is the hard part. This is the worst part about Frankenstein Minute, is listening to me stumble through this part.
You said it, not me. Hey.
It's minute 20. We are on minute 20 of Universal's 1939 film. See, that doesn't make it, I'm stumbling. Universal's 1939 film doesn't make any sense.
Universal's 1939 film, Son of Frankenstein.
Son of Frankenstein.
You
You just
didn't finish your thought.
But it already doesn't make sense. It's not the only film they did in 1939.
It's the only film that matters that they did.
Honestly? What else did they do?
I would have to look that up.
One film I know from 1939 is it Hound of the Baskervilles?
Yes.
That's a good one, but Universal
But
didn't do
Universal
that.
didn't do that.
Despite all appearances.
Yeah.
We are still in the
Study, or library, whatever you want to call it.
Come on. I've played Cluedo.
No, I think
noticed
it's-
we just called it Clue.
Yeah.
But for our UK listeners, I believe that game is inexplicably called Cluedo.
Really?
You never heard of Cluedo?
Never.
Yeah, that's what they call it over there.
What the hell's wrong with
I
those
don't know.
people?
They call it a lift. They call it a
Flat.
They got all kinds of
fag.
They have
for
aluminium. And I'm
Yeah,
like,
yeah.
well,
Where
sounds
does
really
that
impressive? But
Where does
I
that
don't know what it is.
extra syllable come from? Because it's not actually in the word.
What the hell do they call a lieutenant?
Lieutenant. Yeah.
That's just fucking madness.
It's just insanity.
Yep. All right, so if you're listening in the UK, I'm just going to ask you to turn it off now.
Learn how to speak proper.
Yeah.
Talk,
and then come back.
regular.
Learn how to fucking speak English.
Yeah, would you?
I have found that by explaining, is that where we're starting?
Yeah. Well,
No, first it's, I wish I could do something
won't you change your mind?
change your mind for Brandy? So he does think it's something to him.
He's genuinely pleasant for like the one moment in the film where he's actually kind of has a human contact with somebody.
I think that's a really good point. He's been obsessed with on the train when he's talking to his lovely bride.
I mean, he pretty much blows off everything she says.
Yep, has no interest. He gets
even
to the
hear.
castle and barely notices that she clearly thinks it's a nightmare.
It's a shithole, and barely acknowledges Benson. Oh yeah, I'm glad to see you too.
Oh,
Yeah.
I am glad to see you, Benson.
Yeah.
He doesn't do well there.
Yeah.
Peter says, "Look at me, I'm up on a mountain."
Yeah, good night.
son. I said good night, son.
Don't let the door hit you.
We're joking about this, but it is true. It is absolutely the point. It's not a mistake. It's written that way.
It's the first time he has a human reaction.
This is so well played with the music and the thud and the thunder and everything that even Wolf is
moved by
realize what the fuck is going on.
Yeah,
it's great, and he plays it great.
Yes, he does. And even when won't you please let me do something? Let me give you a brandy.
Please let me give you a brandy. Yeah,
At least.
awesome. And he says thank you.
Yeah,
Baron.
thank
so
you.
that there's a connection between them, which
Right.
is also great
Yeah.
because it improves the movie to have them have a connection
Right.
that's genuine and authentic,
Yes.
and we watch it happen.
Well, then I
Again,
think
like the script was a nightmare.
Yeah.
We didn't
Well,
need that.
and the way this scene in this minute proceeds, now they're actually having a conversation. They're not volleying back and forth,
Right.
each one trying to manipulate the other. They're actually having a discussion.
And it's interesting that what it took was for Wolf to sort of get beaten down.
Get the shit kicked out of him. Yeah.
That's the only way to talk to this guy.
I guess.
Yeah, and hard to picture that Krog okay, I shouldn't say it that way. Krogh definitely didn't intend to do that. He was baited into it.
He was forced. He was backed into that corner.
Yeah. And it worked, yeah.
And
it's
worked,
like
but
real life.
Yeah.
It's
yeah,
like
basically,
how people are.
It's
great.
Ended up working to his advantage.
Well, and then...
But then we get this explanation here.
I apologize if I've aroused your sympathy, but I have found that by explaining my affliction, it ceases to be quite a curiosity. It's good and bad. I like what he's saying there, but I also don't like it. I don't like it because he didn't mean to. He was directly responding to what Wolf had said. So it's kind of silly in that sense. But I also like him saying that.
I think, he could have stopped it. Well, sorry if I aroused your sympathy.
You're probably right.
Fine.
Yeah, that's a good point. That would have worked.
And I liked as he's doing that, he's stuffing his hanky back into his sleeve, and he's a master with the arm and the props with it.
Yeah, it's
and it's no wonder Wilder and Brooks picked up on that to satirize in Young Frankenstein, because it's so rich already and kind of darkly funny.
Yeah, it's already darkly funny.
Mm-hmm. And I think that may not have been.
We're going to see that more later.
Yeah, more later. And I don't know that maybe was Lee's intention, but certainly Atwill picked up on that in his performance.
I wonder, how did it even happen?
To realize this is funny?
No, why does he have a fake arm? When did that come into it? Like you said, the script we have was thrown out. It doesn't even have him in it, really.
No.
There's a character that's
similar.
But he doesn't have a fake arm.
And he doesn't serve the same function as Krogh does.
Right.
Yeah, I don't know. I think maybe it was just another thing to make the monster more monstrous, I guess.
Sure, but who did it? Is it Lee? That's the weird thing about this movie. We don't know.
Yeah, we really don't know, because there's really...
Who wrote it?
Beyond that Willis Cooper script, there really isn't anything to fall back on that I'm aware of, that I've ever seen, that anybody's ever referenced, unless it's in some file in some collection at a library that Universal donated or something.
When you watch Curb Your Enthusiasm, we're not surprised to learn that there's not a script.
Yeah.
There's just an idea, there's some general bullet points, some beats that need to be hit in each scene. Because when you watch it, it's clear that's what's happening.
Exactly.
This movie's not like that.
No, I think it was written out
by somebody at some
and
point.
I think oftentimes attributed to Lee, so perhaps that's true. Because he did work as a screenwriter as well as a director.
Okay, I didn't know that. That's interesting.
So he did have some experience in that. Not the best way to do this on the fly, but there's a lot of films that have been done that way. Beat the Devil.
I don't know what that is.
It's a Humphrey Bogart, John Huston film that Peter Lorre is in it, and Robert Morley. They basically did it as an excuse to go to Madrid or wherever they shot it.
Got it.
And there was one day they didn't have anything prepared. Houston was like, well, fuck. I can't shoot this scene with that wall there. We need that wall tore down. So while the guys are tearing down the wall and plastering over it and all that, he and Bogart hammered out a scene.
Okay.
And supposedly, and I haven't watched it in a long, long time, but Bogart, he didn't get paid or something, so he's like, well, fuck this. Didn't show up to do the ADR at the end. So apparently, through the bulk of the film, Peter Sellers is doing Bogart's voice.
That's that right?
I've read this in probably a dozen different places.
And
in Bogart books, Sellers books, general film books, it's not just somebody trying to pump Sellers up, because he did a lot of that. He did a lot of early on.
Well, that's what I was going to say. There's two things that make this plausible. The fact that it's Bogart, which everybody can do Bogart.
Yeah, and the fact that it's
everybody
Peter
can
Sellers.
do a Bogart, and the fact that it's Sellers. Yeah, I like it. And bringing it back to Son of Frankenstein, when I think about when I wasn't doing it minute by minute, when I was just thinking about it generally, the film, to me, what seems to be the biggest change from the script was Igor. The introduction, or the
introducing
complete
Igor.
introduction of Igor into this story.
Right.
And so that's the way I kind of pictured it. And when you hear the stories of it in what few documentaries bother to mention this film, that's what you seem to get out of it is, boy, I'm going to stick it to Universal because they're not paying Bela Lugosi enough for this. We're going to pump up your role. And you can kind of see that when you watch the movie.
Oh, absolutely.
What we don't get at all is any idea of how,
where
like I said,
Krogh
has a fake arm and tells a story and all this stuff.
Yeah, I have no idea where all that originated. The way Lugosi's widow tells it is that it was Lee's decision alone. Other sources say, Lee, Karloff, and Rathbone all agreed that this is bullshit. We need to do something about that.
Okay.
And Lillian Lugosi would have died before she would have given Rathbone and Karloff credit for anything.
That's really interesting, isn't it? I mean, I think that's a
lot of the shit talk about Karloff and the rivalry. It all comes from her,
right.
And she is about the biggest axe grinder I've ever encountered in reading anything. So I take what she says with about, a golf ball size grain of salt.
Right. That's as big as you're willing to go, though. You want
No,
golf
I could go
softball,
I could go basketball maybe. One of those balls that you sit on instead of a chair. That's about.
We have a lot of evidence on the other side. I shouldn't say that. It's not a ton. But just what we know about Boris Karloff and what he's said about Lugosi and how he seems to feel about the business and stuff like that, it does seem to add up that Karloff would be a proponent of that.
Oh, yeah. No,
Rathbone I don't know about.
I think Rathbone was a stand-up guy. He was really, really popular in Hollywood. He and his wife would have these huge parties that literally everybody went to. And
So did Pinky Atwell.
Pinky Atwell had a different kind of party, but yeah.
Have we covered that?
We did
ground?
mention it. Yeah, it is going to come up till we're done with House of Dracula.
Let's just keep telling it. It's a great story. No, I don't know. It's a great story. It's awful.
Well, he was. It is awful. I mean, he would have these parties that would ultimately lead to showing porn films that would then degenerate and supposedly into orgies. I can't say that for sure because I wasn't there.
Yep.
Never invited me to one of these. God
but
damn.
Little Pinky undoubtedly made an appearance.
Oh, I'm sure Little Pinky was
The star of the show. Do you think there was any socializing between Pinky and Basil?
I don't know. That would be interesting. I have no idea because they were both British. They both came from a theater background, so they would have some common ground.
And socialites.
Like
I said, I don't know anything about Basil.
Socially popular, yeah.
Okay.
It is entirely possible that, those paths, those streams crossed at some point, yeah.
I mean, it's also interesting because we've crossed this threshold where we were talking about James Whale's films for
a long
couple
time.
of years.
Yeah.
And now he's completely out of the picture.
Right.
And I picture him being in that role as well.
Oh, his parties were a step beyond Pinky's.
So closer to Fatty Arbuckle status.
No, come on now.
So let's do the scale. It's Fatty.
Pinky. Whale is somewhere in between the two.
And then you picture Basil's parties being more like, well, maybe a couple of people had too many martinis and bumped into the wall with their
midsections.
With their midsections.
I don't know. Yeah, Fatty Arbuckle, I mean, there's a whole can of worms.
Well,
I don't believe he was guilty.
Nobody thinks that.
Although it still comes up in things is that, he killed a girl with a Coke bottle.
Right.
Which is not true.
Well, that's easier to say, and
it is,
it's flippant and whatever.
Yeah.
But, okay, so
do you want to go through it? Because a lot of people don't know this, I'm sure.
I mean, you have to edit this, so you decide. But I would say it's absolutely within our remit to discuss this
go
sort
ahead.
of topic.
Go ahead.
No, well, okay, I'll tell you the way I think it went. I didn't even know of the Coke bottle, so I got nothing. Okay. But he went to trial. There was a trial.
They had a party over Labor Day in a hotel in San Francisco. Keaton, who was his best friend, couldn't make it because he was otherwise occupied or working or whatever. Thankfully for history, wasn't there.
Yeah.
At this party, it was pretty wild. There was a lot of alcohol imbibed. Virginia Rapé was a bit actress who was there wanting to further her career. The allegation, she died at this party. Now, I don't remember all the details.
Right.
Allegation was that Arbuckle raped her and then diddled her with a Coke bottle and killed her.
Okay.
He went to trial 3 times.
Right.
3 hung juries till finally then a jury acquitted him of everything and apologized. By then his career was done.
Yeah.
Absolutely devastated.
Right.
And this led to the initial production code.
Kind of hard for people nowadays to maybe even kind of imagine that, because if you heard that, like, say, Donald Trump had gone through that, it wouldn't even surprise you.
Apparently, yeah.
And we're about to re-elect him president here in a few months.
Theoretically, yeah.
Maybe 36 months. No one even gives a shit anymore.
Yeah, no.
Having said that, a lot of people, careers are still ruined by much less than a false accusation. So who knows?
And then don't even go to trial.
Right.
I mean, ask Kevin Spacey how well that worked out.
Oh, good point.
We won't even go to Bill Cosby territory, but...
You mean Bill Cosby, who now resides at Bill Cosby's house?
Yeah, exactly.
Fucking nightmare.
Yep.
We are in the worst timeline.
Mm-hmm.
All right.
I have a picture of his star on the Hollywood Walk of Fame where somebody has written in marker "serial rapist" on it. And,
what I think is
interesting, and it was gone.
is...
The marker was gone the next day, and then the following day, something else was written on it.
Okay.
So I'm sure that gets defaced on a daily basis.
What I think is most interesting about Bill Cosby is that his legal defense team admits that he is a serial rapist.
Yes.
I feel like I understand the technicality that led to him being let out, but everyone concedes, well, yeah,
he did
I'm a serial I did it.
Yeah.
Oh,
my
God.
sister-in-law has a magnet on their fridge. It's it's him doing the OK sign with his squunched up face that you'd see.
Yeah.
It says, I like pudding my dick where it doesn't belong.
Christ.
And I laughed so hard when I saw that.
God.
Because it was at the height of all the nonsense.
No, I bet it's hilarious. I'm just trying to picture what our podcast is now.
I'm someone who has freely admitted this is the Patreon version. I'm someone who's freely admitted to having loved Bill Cosby as a child.
Yeah, we've talked a lot about your
Fat Albert.
Albert, and yeah, I saw him in concert.
Oh yeah.
But a friend of mine wanted to go, so that's my excuse. I didn't really. He was fine.
I won't make an excuse though. His albums from the late '60s are brilliant. They're hilarious.
I consider myself lucky to just not think that.
Yeah,
I'm just
okay,
I love a lot of people that are problematic or whatever.
Right.
But Bill Cosby, I just never.
Yeah, well, that's to your benefit. Yeah.
Yeah,
definitely.
that's right. History has.
I mean, my parents let me stay up past 9 o'clock because he had a talk show or a variety show or whatever, and Groucho Marx was going to be on it. The first time Groucho had been on TV forever,
Okay.
and they let me stay up to watch Groucho be on there. And it was like two people I loved dearly as a child were going to be together.
That's a famous one that you can still find it on.
Oh yeah, you can find it on
where they're
YouTube.
smoking
Definitely.
cigars and stuff. Yeah,
you can definitely find it. But it was a big deal, and yeah, my folks said, okay, you can stay up past your bedtime because I think it was like 8 o'clock, and this meant a great deal.
Yeah, I could see that. I mean, I liked the Marx Brothers when I was a kid.
Yeah, well, there's no reason.
A friend of
not
mine
to.
did a review of the Monty Python Blu-ray set a year after it came out. He just released it like last couple of weeks ago or whatever.
Just for the hell of it, or?
Yeah, he was like, I was going to do this a year ago, but I might as well do it now. And I thought, yeah, why not? Who cares? I still got it on the shelf. Why not review it? And he was talking about how he was introduced to Monty Python. And it was interesting to hear when he discovered it and all this stuff. And I'm like, Monty Python was like thrust upon me as almost a toddler. Like it came out in 74 or something.
Here.
Yeah. And I was 4. So it was
Actually,
like Monty Python has always been with me.
Yeah, because here there was a summer replacement series. I want to say it was 72.
Okay.
Dean Martin had a comedy stuff from around the world.
Okay.
And that is how it was paid to be transferred from PAL to NTSC. Is Dean Martin paid for the whole works.
Right.
To use little bits. The very first Monty Python bit I recall seeing ever was Conrad Poos and his dancing teeth. It's Gilliam animation. And I just about pissed myself laughing.
Yeah.
And I like, what the hell was that from?
Yeah.
For years, and then a few years later.
Okay. It was on PBS.
It was on PBS and just happened upon it and like, oh my God.
Yeah.
There it is. And, then it was, I've been afflicted ever since.
It's kind of funny that show is, to me now, probably because I've just spent too much time thinking about Monty Python in my life, but it's distinctly different things. And when you talk about Gilliam animations like that, that's one thing.
That's
and
a
as a little
factor of
kid,
it.
I might have been waiting for those.
Right.
And now when I watch it, it's almost like an interruption, and I have to adjust to that. I don't dislike it.
It is, and that was definitely on purpose.
Yeah.
That jar from one to the other.
Conrad Poos and his dancing teeth, though, is that kind of thing. I feel like that's another point where you draw a line between what came before and what came after. And
Conrad Poos is a defining.
Yeah.
Okay.
If you think of what that is, you talked about it, so you know what you loved about it. It looks like nothing's gonna happen.
Yeah.
For like
20
seconds.
30 seconds. Yeah. It's just this.
It's just music.
This kind of circusy music playing.
And it's Terry Gilliam's
face just kind of mugging and basically opening and closing his mouth.
And then all kinds of shit happens.
Then all of a sudden it just goes berserk. And the teeth literally start dancing.
That's an amazing sort of way to make comedy.
Oh, it's brilliant. That piece around the same time, then there was the Marty Feldman Comedy Machine.
Oh God.
That again was like a summer replacement show and had Gilliam animation for its opening titles.
Okay.
So that had already been, I already started to be warped by it.
Yeah.
When I was like 7.
Yep.
And then so when then at school, I'm like, you guys gotta watch Sunday night at 10 o'clock. Channel 2, you gotta see this. It is absolutely amazing.
Yeah.
And so then for years, all through junior high, Monday mornings was talking about what was on Monty Python the night before.
I mean, I was too little, I think.
Yeah.
That's where the age difference is dramatic.
Yeah, you don't have that same kind of. It was pre-cable.
Yeah.
So you don't have that same. If it was on, everybody watched it, kind of a thing.
Yeah.
Frankenstein: The True Story was on. I think it was like a Friday and Saturday or something like that. It was on 2 nights over a weekend, like Thanksgiving, I think.
Okay.
Monday morning, I was hounded by everybody. Was that the true story? Was that? What did you think of it? How was that? Was that? Well, okay, no,
So
there is no true story.
Your
but
Frankenstein expertise was already in place.
3rd grade, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, because I had already started to read the book.
So my thing about Monty Python is my dad hated it, and so I think that was
the
contributed
impetus
to me liking it.
Yeah.
Which is funny because what he really liked was Universal Frankenstein movies. So there you go. My dad and I didn't always see eye to eye.
See, my mom didn't like the fact that I watched it, but she never forbade me from watching it.
I think I've said this before. My mom took me to Monty Python's Meaning of Life, and I was 12. Yeah,
that movie would have killed my mother.
Yeah. Every scene.
Yeah, that she would have died right there in the theater. And
did I tell you I went out to lunch with her a couple of months ago, and I was telling her the stories of these right-wing radio hosts that were dropping like flies, like one a week, dying of COVID.
Dying of COVID.
You're laughing?
Yeah.
My mom, I started to worry that she was going to have a heart attack. She was laughing so hard about this. She thought that was hilarious.
My friend Corey posted something.
Got bad taste, my mom.
No one has worse taste than me. My friend Corey posted on Facebook something like, "I have COVID is the funniest thing Joe Rogan has ever said." And I couldn't agree more.
Okay.
Meanwhile, back in Son of Frankenstein.
So the reason we went there was we were talking about Pinky Atwill.
Yeah, and where did this come from?
Where did this come from?
The idea of the idea that of the wooden or the fake arm and
we did
that.
Yeah, we covered
that. I think we're done.
Yes, it ceases to be quite such a curiosity. That was probably where we left off.
Yes.
I don't know.
You hinted
I mean, I get what you're getting at, but I don't think we have anything.
No. I'm saying we're done with that topic.
We're done with that.
You intimated there are other murders committed since the destruction of the ... my father's work.
There's 2 things here. You intimated there have been other murders. He was just talking about the ghosts.
Yeah.
When they commit murder.
Yeah.
Okay. The other thing is ... my father's work. So if you told me right now that someone ripped your arm off, I think I'd be more likely to call that person a monster.
Yes.
So it's kind of weird. I think maybe the only thing I can think is that he's just trying to be sensitive to the fact that obviously for lack of a better phrase, Krog's got a chip on his shoulder about the monster. He's got a chip on what used to be his shoulder.
Well, I agree, but I think it's also Wolf trying to save face a little bit.
Yeah, that's what's weird about it.
So it kind of goes both directions.
Yep. So it all contributes to another great moment where they're just trying to relate to each other, and Wolf is uncomfortable.
Well,
which
it's
is
uncomfortable, but he is, like I said, first time in the film, trying to relate to somebody on a human level.
Yeah, maybe the first time in his life.
It could be. He's trying to be sensitive to Krog's feelings, which he hasn't been to anybody else in the film.
Yep.
And he's just trying to understand what he's talking about, this murdering ghost. And it's part of the Frankenstein legacy now. So what do you mean, these other murders? I don't know about this.
The monster's been dead for years. He died years ago.
Perhaps.
Well, exactly.
See, so when Krog goes forward saying, all unsolved, we have no idea.
Yeah, he says, how do you account for it? Well, I can't.
I can't. And I don't think he's telling the truth. I think he knows.
Right. I agree.
But he's playing everything very, very close to the vest and not showing his hand.
To the point where we're going to talk about this again next summer. This same exact topic.
Yes.
They don't really get very far very fast. It takes a while.
It takes them a while to volley around
this. It's the opposite of the script.
Yes,
where the script is saying,
hey, guess what?
Yeah, well, I think I have this for this minute. So these dialogue-heavy minutes, sometimes it's hard to tell how much we should bounce around.
Emphasize, yeah.
So, but in the script, Wolf, the previous day, came across some gendarmes cleaning up some corpses from the storm.
Yeah.
And he's affected by it and terrible. And then when Ewald, his friend, comes to have this conversation, it wasn't the storm. because
This was no boating
storm
accident.
Exactly. And one of the things he says, funnily enough, is the storm doesn't leave marks on a dead man's throat. It's kind of the opposite of what we're going to talk about. But Wolf's reaction to that is he's the one that comes forth with the idea that maybe it was the monster.
Maybe the monster's still around.
And then within 2 or 3 lines of dialogue, it's almost certainly the monster, and I have to take care of it.
Yeah.
And Ewald's like, well, you sure? I mean, you got Kid here, and you got all this stuff. I mean, it's cool, but... So it's the opposite of that.
Yeah.
All right.
But I think this plays better.
I mean, yeah.
It's better written and
yeah. How do you account for it? Well, I can't. Neither can the special agents.
Yeah, from Scotland Yard and the Sûreté Française.
Do you want to say it, or should I say it?
Go ahead.
If Inspectors Lestrade and Clouseau can't solve this,
nobody
then
can.
Nobody can.
Thank you.
So that's
almost exactly what I was.
I had a feeling, so that's why I threw it up there in case you wanted to take it.
No, that's fine.
I did look up the Sûreté Française.
Yeah.
They're considered a pioneer of all crime-fighting organizations in the world. I'm just reading Wikipedia here, but they're considered an inspiration for Scotland Yard, the FBI, and other departments like that.
Weren't they on the forefront of like using forensics and things like that, from what I understood?
Yeah, so
there
was a lot of crime.
Because I think during the Jack the Ripper...
Well, that's later, because...
They were consulted.
Yeah. Oh, okay, I didn't know that. Okay. But it's a big part of it was... it's weird to know even where to begin, but they were modeled on Napoleon's political police. Which sounds awful.
It sounds,
and probably was horrible. And if you think about how to effectively fight crime in that manner, yeah, they probably did some really horrible shit. And so does the FBI, and so does Scotland Yard.
Yeah.
Crime fighting is
it's a tough
topic
gig
to get your head around sometimes. But they did reduce crime in Paris, the crime rate in Paris, by 40%, which is like that's the shine that people like to put on it. But you got to assume it was probably a fucking nightmare.
Yeah.
Plus, the idea that Inspector Clouseau is probably not that far off from what was really going on. I don't know. Maybe that's a little bit of a stretch.
Yeah.
All right. So he's brought in the Scotland Yard and this Sûreté Française because this is just... there's no way to figure this out.
Can't possibly.
What on earth could be going on here? It's a great mystery.
And I think that's kind of preposterous.
It's, yeah. No, I think
that's a little silly because I think Krogh knows what's going on. And later on, they kind of have an inkling of who's behind it all.
Yeah, it's really dumb. It's the dumbest thing that anybody says in this movie, in my opinion.
There's a lot of dumb things are said, but...
There's a lot of dumb things in this movie. Concussion.
Or he says, all men of prominence in the village. They died of a violent concussion.
They died of that. That was what they died from.
No marks on the body.
No marks on the body, other than
a bruise at the base of the brain,
Yep.
which would generally point to a concussion.
Yep, but also, as a bonus, the heart was ruptured. In fact, it had burst.
Yep.
This is the mystery that lies at the heart of Inspector Krogh in the case of the unmarked burst heart murder.
Well, he's talking to Sherlock Holmes, so they should be able to figure this out pretty quick.
This should be perfect. That would be actually pretty... I guess in a way that's what happens. Wolf does help.
Inadvertently. Not on purpose, but... I got nothing else.
I don't. I'm just looking through my notes. We kind of talked about the stuff that I was already going to say, but one of the things that I do have here that I think is interesting is we did compare it to the script, and it's better in every way. Mm-hmm. But it's also notable to point out another way the script would have been worse is Neumiller was played by Lugosi.
Bela Lugosi.
So as bad as you think it was,
it
could have been way
that much worse.
Yeah. So Roland V. Lee worked a fucking miracle.
He did.
Turning that script
generally polished
with that
turd.
Cast.
Yeah.
He said, okay, well,
this is what we have.
The inspector's the inspector's fine, but how about we have you not play the inspector and we'll slap a bunch of makeup and a hunchback on you or whatever. And
by all accounts, though, Lugosi loved the role and had a blast.
Yeah, it seems to be even Lillian.
Yeah, this was one of his best roles.
He loved that role.
God, he was cute.
Yeah, there you go.
Follow us on.
Follow us on Belong Dead on Twitter. We don't have anything. All we do is just retweet Frankenstein Minute.
Nothing there, but follow us anyway.
All right. Good luck. Be safe. Be well.
Let's be careful out there.
Wow.
Cue the Hill Street Blues theme.
Hill Street Blues minute.
That would take forever.
That would take a while.